Hey guys, welcome. Here's another episode with our MBA coffee chat. Today we're having the one and only Mr. Albert Acosta. He's one of the good looking man in the gold section, and we're happy to have him today. Hey Albert,
Happy
how
to
you
be here.
doing?
Happy to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. So Albert, you haven't, I guess I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself for those anyone in our class who may have not had a chance to speak with you at a deeper level. So, do you want to do that now?
Got it. Albert Acosta, born and raised here in Southern California, a product of the San Fernando Valley. Uh, Pretty proud of that. Went to Cal State Northridge. Always wanted to go to UCLA as a high school student. Didn't really make it work, but I'm here now. In terms of occupation, vice president of Endeavor Analytics. Endeavor is essentially a talent agency in Beverly Hills and oversee North American analytics for all owned and operated companies under the Endeavor umbrella, including all business units. So again, have to be an expert in many fields that Endeavor covers. So that ranges from motion picture, television, music, personal appearance, literary, brand marketing, music streaming, in addition to all of the companies we own, like the PBR, the UFC, the WWE. So essentially, what I do is I lead a team here in North America to help deal negotiations. So any kind of deal negotiations that need help analytically to be pushed over the hill for any of our clients across all business units. If they seek analytical support, we are there for our agent and executive team.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I don't think I got all of that. I've known you for a couple of months now, but I didn't never really
It's
understood,
it's
the talent
honestly
agency, that space.
it's hard to explain. Like sometimes I just say business development, or sometimes I just say, work strategy. We essentially do a lot of it. Analytics is kind of the underpinning of everything now. Um, so when people ask me, well, I'm not just in a room crunching numbers, we're going to meetings and we have to apply strategy. So again, Benji, if you're one of our clients and we're trying to get you a deal with Pepsi, but Pepsi says, well, we don't really want Benji. We want to go with Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars has a bigger audience, a bigger social following. Your team would come to me and be like, hey, we have a meeting with Pepsi. We really want to get Benji this deal. Uh, how do we help? How do we help them? So then I would look into that. I would look into your social following. Who's a fan of you? Do they buy anything? One thing I would probably say is, well, Benji holds a higher multicultural fan base composition wise versus Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars may have more collective fans, but Benji has a bigger multicultural composition. So you could pay the big money for Bruno Mars, you could pay less for Benji and really hit the target market that you want. Benji has more female fans than Bruno Mars. So if you're trying to get females, young females, educated, college educated, whatever, you go with Benji. And really build an analysis over that. Look at appeal, look at awareness. So from the talent perspective, uh, could be it ranges from a lot of things. I just posted something on LinkedIn for WWE Raw. Again, we oversee analytics right now for the WWE. Their deal with the USA NBC Universal Network was up.
Yeah.
Their multimedia rights deal. They were looking for a new TV home. Okay, so they come to us before they have every meeting with everybody around town. I have to make a presentation and crunch the numbers on why it makes sense, why CBS makes sense for the home of Monday Night Raw, or why does Netflix make sense? Why does Amazon make sense? Why does Warner Brother Discovery make sense? And really think the fine comb, looked at all the numbers and find a way to navigate and create a narrative to architect an approach. So when they're in the meeting, they would want to be bought. And luckily, Netflix made the right choice. They picked up Raw, and they're seeing all of the success past couple of weeks.
And that's all to your recommendation, right? Like maybe I'll get that
Yeah, I
Pepsi
mean,
deal over Bruno
yeah,
Mars.
essentially it was our group and our Emmanuel, Mark Shapiro. So I couldn't make the meeting at Netflix. I was at a wedding in Colombia, so my boss did it, but it was a lot of fun. It's cool, and we get to work on those bigger picture things. But it could be something as small as, you know, uh, Black History Month is coming. And I think that you know sometimes it helps. Like last year, we did a really cool presentation, that we named Black is the Blueprint to just kind of show that why the Black consumer and Black audiences are so important and often extremely looked over, particularly on screen. And we looked at things like on screen representation, but also we looked at colorism. like a darker skin versus lighter skin. We looked at all of these things, you know what I mean? And this is great because if our company can prove that we're looking at these things, okay, if you're trying to sign like a black artist or you're trying to sign someone of color or someone from any marginalized group, to know that wow, this company is thinking about me and my business or me and my audience, that's a good thing, So since BLM, we're asked to do a lot more multicultural research, which for me is fun because if you're only working in entertainment and sports, to be able to do research like that is so awesome.
Wow, wow. Hey, your career sounds really exciting, man. I didn't even know about this
It's stress.
space too much.
It's stressful. It's part of the reason why I haven't left yet is because of the variety of projects that we work on. Again, how do you make a choice what you go down?
Yeah,
My counterpart at the UFC or my counterpart at the WWE, we talk all the time. They have one line of business. They're thinking WWE all the time, or they're thinking UFC all the time. If you work for Dunn Edwards Paint and you work in that analytics group, well, you're only thinking Dunn Edwards Paint all day, every day. Myself, we have a lot of ground we have to cover across so many different things. And in each hour, I'm going into a different meeting where I have to be an expert in a different subject and apply strategy to it, And again, I think it keeps me sharp. It keeps me sharp. It keeps things lively. And it's a lot of fun. However, since I've joined the program, it is incredibly hard to juggle this job with the program, as so many
yeah,
other people know, with their lives. Luckily, I'm single, no kids right now. So I could just sit here all day and just sort of work, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
yeah, yeah. I know this is, you know, I wanted to comment like, yeah, you're such a product of LA because there was a lot of name droppings, dude. Seems to be like an LA thing, like you reference so many companies, players in the business.
Well, it's interesting. Like I talk a lot, particularly at Cal State Northridge. I talk to the kids a lot.
Yeah,
And when I tell them all the time, when I was there, we didn't think this was possible. We didn't even know what a lot of things were, what a lot of companies were. So I remember like me and my buddy EJ, he's one of my directors now at this company. We'd go to Taco Bell every night after class, thinking, how the hell are we going to break into entertainment? Because again, when you grow up on this side of the hill, you don't know and you don't have a relative or an uncle or a father that's working at a talent agency or working at a movie studio, working at a TV network. We didn't understand how are we going to get in, how are we going to do these things, and we had to learn to hustle really fast at such a young age to kind of break through.
yeah,
So yeah, and again, like I think getting coming to UCLA and getting that UCLA network under my fold like was really important to me
yeah.
to have the Cal State already.
Sure. And so what is the reason for you why Anderson, why now? What kind of, I know you mentioned you wanted to be UCLA, but was there
Yeah.
like particular like event in your career that kind of, okay, I'm doing it now.
No, it was something I was thinking of for years now. Uh, and the issue is, I think I was getting a lot of advice from a lot of bad people, not necessarily bad people, but again, be careful who you get advice from.
Yeah,
I grew up without a
totally.
dad. So when you grow up without a father, you kind of have a collection of father figures as you grow up. So you get advice from different people. But career-wise, whenever I'd ask people, should I go back to school? Should I go back to school? They'd always say, no, you don't need it. No, you don't need it. No, you don't need it. You're VP, blah, blah. You don't need it. You don't need it. But everybody I was asking, excuse my language, freaking rich. You know what I mean? They're rich, at safety nets, at all these things. I don't have these things. It's just me. If I get fired tomorrow, I'm starting from ground zero.
Yeah,
So me, it's more about my personality. How do you stay ahead? If I get, you work in entertainment, you're gonna get laid off or fired at some point. I'm gonna get laid off or fired from this job at some point. It's the game. But for myself, how can you kind of mitigate the losses a little bit? What could I do to stay sharp, to stay ahead of the curve?
yeah,
And I don't want to be told no. And for someone like myself, as I advance in my career and I'm in more and more conference rooms and more boardrooms,
yeah,
yeah, I notice I probably stand out a little bit. I mean, I could dress the part all I want. I still look different. Look at the way I cut my hair. Look at all this gel I put in my hair. Like I look different when I'm in these board conference rooms. So I'm always thinking, I'm one of those people where I think you can't tell me nothing. 10 out of 10. I got you 10 out of 10. And I realize, you know what? I really don't have the business polish, the finance, the accounting. I want to be comfortable when I'm in these rooms. And like I'm trying to cover my holes. I don't want to be
yeah,
told no in 5 years if I want a job or at something C-suite level.
Yeah.
I want to keep going, and I think this will help.
Yeah, we love that. So in the second quarter in Anderson, are you feeling that you're getting what you want or what you were looking for? It's as far as the value that you're getting, knowledge and or the network.
I think it's been interesting. I think it's important for myself. I think as I go forward to not take classes that I know I can do well in. I was speaking to my boss's boss last week, and I told him some of the things I wanted to take. A lot of emphasize maybe in entertainment strategy, modeling, etc. He's like, "Why are you doing those things? You can do those things now. It's not why you're there. It's not why you're paying $200,000. You're there to acquire some hard skills you can adapt that you don't know yet. Focus on the other things." And that's actually why I love this EVI class because it's not. I was thinking of dropping it, but I thought, you know what? I know nothing about creating a company, so I should stay here and I should stay in this because I'm going to learn a lot of stuff. And I love the team I'm working with. That was 50% of why I stood in the class. So I'm really here to be uncomfortable for a variety of reasons and learn a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think you have some superstars in your EVI team, so that must be exciting. So I'm looking
I'm
forward
sure,
to
yeah. So
hopefully you
I'm
guys hook up with
gonna
the
bring that
next
average down.
IPO.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's
then
really cool.
so we're, for those who are thinking about getting their MBA, I guess, you have professionals from all sorts of industry, all sorts of fields. What would you say in terms of them getting an MBA if they were interested? Like what would be your advice to those population?
People seeking out an MBA. Well, I'm in quarter two, so I don't know
Yeah.
necessarily what I would say yet. I think one thing I've learned and one thing that really got reinforced to me this quarter was everyone is on their own journey. And I think quarter one, I was a little, maybe not lost, but I think in quarter one, because you meet so many engineers, you meet so many entrepreneurs, etc., you kind of lose the plot a little bit for yourself. And you start hearing everybody else and you start hearing about their plans and the things they want to do. And you start feeling FOMO. You think, I should be doing those things too, and not realizing, wait a minute, that is not my journey. My journey is this. I need to stick to this. Even being at EVI, like I probably shouldn't be in this class, but I did it because everybody else is talking about it, so I did it, and I'm going to stay in it. But realistically, I think it's important to just, for myself to realize everybody's on a different journey, So I think if someone asked me, should I pursue an MBA or not? That's a tough question because again, I remember people told me no, and I love the fact that I'm doing it. So I would ask them, to think about their own journey and if it makes sense for them.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like you talk about this EVI class, and it sounds like it's a positive peer pressure for you. Like it's not something you were expecting, but having an open mind allowed you to just be in this new adventure.
That's a great way to put it. A positive peer pressure. That yeah, 100%. It
Yeah.
is. And just like my team, they all have different skill sets than me. So I'm going to learn something. You learn things. I don't know who said it, years ago, like the five people you hang out with the most are the most influential in your life. If you work out, if my best friend is a buff guy, by default, I'm probably going to work out more. Or if my other friend likes to go dance, I'm probably going to learn a few dance moves along the way. So I'm a huge proponent of just hanging out with people that are different than you at times because you start to pick up a lot of the traits you're not good at, or you get exposed to things you're not good at. So if I'm hanging out with a bunch of accountants or finance people or people trying to create their own company, that's awesome. Like I didn't have friends like that before I joined this program.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool thing, and I think that's important for people to remember is to kind of embrace those differences.
Yeah.
We all go to out drinking, we all go to the social things. Well, this person, I don't have a lot in common with that guy, so I don't want to talk to him. I try to, because I think there's something to be found in everyone, and you could learn from everybody here, and that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what's cool about you, Albert, because you're able to just kind of be flexible enough and have an open mind. People do pick that up from you. And when it's like, okay, Albert's easygoing enough, but when you start talking to Albert, he's like a man of depth and it's just like so many, you're looking at things like so in different angles. And I think not many people have that like it's
Thank you.
approach, I think. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. And I think one thing, you talk to people and it's really interesting, everybody has their own insecurities and stuff, It's nice to hear that like someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so first year in Anderson, and then it's gonna be second year. And then, do you think there are, I guess, are there things that you look forward to that you'll keep like on your post Anderson life? Are there, besides the network, the friendship, the adventures in this, this chapter of your life, are there particular ones that like, okay, I'm gonna hang on to this until the next 5 years, the next 10?
Mainly the people. Like I remember part of the reason I joined the program was I was actually dating someone that was in the program. This was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know what it was, but I went to one of her social hours and she took me and I met a lot of her people and the classmates. And I remember like when we were through and we were leaving, I thought to myself, holy shit. Like if I lost my job tomorrow, this girl could set me up on 8 job interviews like that because of that network that she built just kind of being in the program. And I think that's so cool, and I think that, and that's part of what coming back to like, just kind of embracing those differences in people. Like, do I have anything in common with an engineer? Probably not. But you know what? Like, I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm going to learn a lot from that guy. But I think after I graduate, you may need an engineer, someone, an expert in that field, or you don't know what that guy's going to create. You don't know what route he's going to go down. Like, you may need advice. You may need to talk to someone. My kid may need a job one day. Hey, like I know Benji, he's got this company, blah blah, and I'm gonna introduce him to you. So we forget about that. It's not always about like what's good for you now, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or whatever. Like I'm gonna have a kid one day, and they're gonna want to get into something. It's probably not gonna be what I do. It could be something from in the field of from someone I meet here. So it's gonna be cool to have that network.
Yeah, yeah. You sound so smart, like just investing for the future and having all that guardrails. Just, I think I kind of approach the Anderson the same way too. So yeah, I think it's nice to have that like layers of like friends around you to support you. All right. Hey, we're up on the time. We're up on time, Albert. Are we is there anything else you would like to share for our cohort in terms of like what you would like for them to know or like any or how do they contact you? Or what else they should know about you?
Well, first up, you had a list of questions you sent me like 5 minutes before this meeting. You could choose from one of those. I didn't get a chance to see any of those. I don't know what I would want anyone to know. I'm around on LinkedIn. I'm around on Instagram. I never go on LinkedIn, but I'm trying to do a better job of just being there. Shout out to Natalie, who pushed me to kind of do that more. But I don't have anything to say. I don't know. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, dude, no, all good. Because I
I
mean,
think this.
people do find you friendly, and if they have questions, they'll see you in class, and
I
you
don't know.
can
Like I was
help them with
talking.
their homework. I mean, you're the guy, you're the go-to guy for
I don't know, like you want to get like
that
deep or
stuff.
whatever. Like I remember, I was at CSUN, like talking to some kids last week, and we are talking about, they asked me questions, what's it like to work at talent agency, where, what's kind of like your life like, blah blah blah. But I remember there was a common theme in a lot of the things that we're asking, and eventually I told them, like, don't be discouraged, by the randomness of luck, you know. And I think that, I kind of told them like consistent behaviors over a long period of time always pay off. If you're not getting that promotion or if you're not getting that merit increase or whatever it is you're seeking, if you're a strong performer, you're going to get acknowledged at some point,
Mm.
and I feel like a lot of people get discouraged, like for, there was for Elon Musk, for him, there was probably 20 other guys did exactly the same thing he did, the same routes, but maybe they didn't catch a break where he did. Maybe he caught some more breaks. You know what I mean? I think the randomness of luck is just like so important to not like don't get discouraged, and I'm kind of proof in that in terms of my career. I think that um I don't always play the game or play politics, but I do think that strong performers always get acknowledged and looked at a certain point, and I think it's important to not get discouraged. And I thought that was really relevant. So if I want to leave you with something, I'll leave you with that. That's kind of what I left them with last week.
Don't get discouraged. All right. Hey, thanks, Albert. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully I'll see you around, and we'll create more adventures together in this program.
Absolutely. All
All
right,
right.
cool.
See you
Later.
then.